Yo, what is up, FLEB Nation? I've got one story to quickly tell you guys about how I discovered the racism as a kid in grade 3. So one time I was in primary school, grade 3, and there was a classmate she was a black girl, African American black girl, and I was like, okay, I didn't know anything, so we were just chilling, I was like, oh wait, look, she's brown, I'm brown as well, like, oh, let me go talk to my dad about it. So then I went to my Papa Leb, and my dad used to always say the N-word as a joke, not the ER version, the GA version. Like, he'd always be like, what's up, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bit of love. And as a kid, I was like, hey, that word's kind of funny. Hey, Dad, what does that mean? You know what he said? You know what he said when I said, Dad, what does that word mean? He just said, it means a black person. I'm like, oh, so you just say, oh, that means it's like a different way of saying black. Like, it could be like, you know how like there's purple and then there's magenta or something, like just like a second term for a color. So I was like, okay, all right. And, one day I was, playing around in school and jumping around, and I had many black friends, okay, because I'm a brother. They used to call me the sand N-word back in the day. Like in high school, I was friends with all the brothers. And unfortunately, one time we were all huddled up. I think it was like, I don't know, we were doing sports or something, and the African girl was in front of me, and I was like, I went to my friend and I whispered to my friend, I was like, yo, Jack, is she a nigga? Beep. Like the N-word. I was like, is she a N-word? And then he looked at me, and he looked at the girl, and he's like, Dad, you just called you a nigga. And he dropped it. He just dropped it in front of her. And I was like, and then she looked at me, she's like, do you call me nigga? N-word, motherfucker. And I was like, oh my God, it's about to get serious. And then I said, yeah, I thought the N-word, like I said it again, I was like, just means black. She slapped me across my face. I swear to God, she came up to me like this and slapped me across my face. Now, when I got slapped in the face, I started seeing red. Bro. I started getting angry. I was like, bro, I'm Arab. I was a kid, bro. I had some bad anger issues, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, you just slapped me? But I didn't even do anything wrong? Because in my head, I didn't do anything wrong, man. I was just saying like, oh, that means black. Like, that's it. I didn't know there was like a racial connotation and everything. So I grabbed the rock from the floor and I started to chase her. Imagine little Leb chasing this black Donnie with a rock, and I'm gonna flip and launch it at her. And I'm chasing around the whole school, and I launched that rock, and I like hit her ankle or something, and that's about it. And then the bell rings, whatever. So I go back to class. No one knows anything. All is good, right? I was like, okay, Jack's gonna snitch to the teacher or something like that. So I'm chilling there, And then at the end of the class, the teacher, her name was Mrs. Plant. Mrs. Plant, what a disgusting trash last name. She was a very nice person. But anyway, she brought me to outside of the class, and she's like, did you call her the N-word? Like, she's like, did you say that nigga word? I was like, yeah. I didn't know, bro, I'm telling you, I didn't know it was wrong. I was like, yeah, I called her a nigga. I called her the N-word. And then she flipping screamed at me. The teacher was yelling at me. She's like, I'm going to call your parents, and she's going to make a whole problem. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, like, my dad doesn't lie. My dad never lied to me. Maybe there's a misunderstanding here. Maybe there's something I don't know. So I get held back after school, and I have to flip and write a whole essay and apology. I couldn't even write my own name. I didn't know how to spell mountain in grade 3. I'm a dumb kid. So I had to write an apology. I had to write it like 4 times because my handwriting was so bad. But whatever. And then I had to buy her something as well. The stupid teacher just hated me, bro. She made me go buy her Mentos and something. She made me go buy her lollies. Bro, I was a kid, bro. I didn't have no money. But anyway, we got the Mentos somehow, and I wrote it and I stuck it on a piece of paper, and I gave it to the black brother or the black girl, and I was like, take it, man. I apologize for misunderstanding, even though I almost called her it again when I gave her the note, because I was like, there's no way I did something wrong, but all good. I go back home, and my mom yells at me, and she says, sit on the couch. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm about to get murked by my mom. And then my mom pulls out the thong. She's holding the thong. She's interrogating me like the FBI. She's got the weapon, and she's like, what did you say to that girl today? I was like, I said, nigga. Dad told me, I can say it and stuff. Like, Dad said it's not a bad word. It just means black person. And then she slapped me, even though it's not my fault. I got slapped 3 times. See, innocent bystander. I got hit 3 times. Free up, Mini Leb, free up justice. And then my dad comes home. And when my dad comes back home from work, that's like how like in like your normal family, it's like the dad that drinks alcohol and then he wants to beat the kid because he's drunk or something like that, right? That's how kind of my dad was. Like, he would come back home very tired and angry, and if you slipped up, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you're getting boxed, something like that, right? But he usually wouldn't box you, he'd just slap you. So then my dad came home, and I was like, here we go. I can tell my dad what I did because he was the one that told me to do this, right? So then I went to my dad, and my mom's screaming at my dad and me, and then he's like, Danny, what did you do? I was like, Dad, I called the black girl the N-word. And he started laughing. I swear to God, he started laughing. I never seen my dad that happy in his life. He was pissing himself laughing in the kitchen. I thought I was going to get publicly hanged. He started laughing, and he was laughing, and he was laughing, and he was like, it was a misunderstanding. You can't say that word. It's racist. It means like, it's a very bad term. They're people. And then I learned the whole history of black people. A whole lecture about how the Americans and the slavery and the all of it got tied up into, and how the word came out. And I was just seeing that as a kid. I was like, oh wow. So I just called that girl nigga. And then we laughed it off, and everything was all good. And yeah, I guess that was when I first discovered racism. And ever since that day, I have never, ever, ever, ever said the N-word in my life. Believe me or not, that's up to you. But I gave you the evidence, and I gave you the jurisdiction, and I give you the stuff to the judge. I'm an innocent man. But yeah, so that was story time as a kid. Yeah, so that's how I learned what racism is and how it existed. And I had the most innocent intention behind me. I didn't want to be toxic or anything. So, you know, sometimes we'll make honest mistakes as kids. You know, that's life. You know, sometimes you say things that you shouldn't say. Sometimes your parents teach you things that they shouldn't. And, you know, that's how the circle of life starts and begins. Okay, so thank you very much for watching my story time. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got plenty more random and stupid stories, so consider subscribing and liking the video, and join the streams for just good natural energy. You know what I'm saying? No fugazi sort of thing. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. Subscribe. FLEB Nation out.